The shadow pandemic is the name the United Nations has given to the rise of violence against women over the past year. And while the abuse of women long predates COVID, this time women around the globe have taken to the streets and are raising their collective voices to say enough. ABC's Maggie Rulli brings us this report.
For months, Margarita Grisheva went to physical therapy.
Sub, index, middle, ring, little.
On a snowy day in December in 2017, her then husband drove her into the woods in Russia, where, enraged by her threats of divorce, he used an axe to chop off her hands.
Сгибаем. И теперь разгибайте пальчики.
Doctors were able to reattach her left hand, although it has minimal use.
Да, вот, отлично, вот сейчас хорошо.
But not her right. She's had to learn how to use a prosthetic. Margarita says when the violence started 5 years into marriage, she did what she was supposed to do. She went to the police.
I went to an officer. I wrote a complaint. But our police officers didn't do anything. He said it's Russia.
At least 155 countries have passed laws criminalizing domestic violence. Russia is an exception, even weakening protections in recent years. Margarita fought hard to successfully put her ex-husband behind bars for 14 years. But often, first-time offenders can walk away with a simple fine.
The fact is, the punishment doesn't match the crime. How can a person do such a thing and just get 3 to 5 years?
But even in countries that have domestic violence laws, like the U.S., cases are often hard to prosecute, and many incidents go unreported. Margarita's case may be horrific, but she's not alone. Roughly 1/3 of women worldwide have faced violent or sexual abuse in their lifetime. According to the UN, lockdowns from COVID-19 are compounding this violence. Victims trapped with their abusers and cut off from support. It's triggering what the UN has dubbed the shadow pandemic. Over the past year, the unrelenting spread of violence against women has shaken the world. Calls to helplines increased in 80% of countries who provided information to the UN. No continent has been left untouched. A collective grief that's now fueling protests across the globe. In Mexico, women taking their anger to the streets. Australia facing a cultural reckoning over rape accusations in Parliament.
I was raped inside Parliament House by a colleague, and for so long it felt like the people around me only cared because of where it happened and what it might mean to them.
In London, the protest started with just one name, Sarah Everard, a young British woman brutally murdered as she was walking home from her friend's house early at night.
When you first heard about what had happened, what did you think?
Could have been me.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, and it was painful thinking of it, because I walk every day.
Her death sparking a social media movement, women sharing all the things they're taught to do to protect themselves from a young age.
Do men realize women share their addresses?
Once I had to hide in a bush for over an hour.
Women have had to cross roads.
Countless occasions I have felt unsafe.
Men can never understand how frightening it can be. Text me when you get home.
We've all walked by ourselves with friends, and I think it's important for everyone to understand that it's absolutely nothing that she did wrong.
We put the focus on women and girls and what they should do, what they should wear, how they should walk, and how they need to protect themselves. I would say to men and boys that we all have a role to play.
Activists taking back power, demanding that instead of blaming women, we change society. That's where Mandu Reid sees the chance to make a difference.
It's not just women and girls. I think men are starting to appreciate that this isn't the world that they want to live in either.
As the first black leader of a UK political party, WEP, or the Women's Equality Party, she's running to become the first woman to be mayor of London. They're fighting to have women's voices in places of power, leaders who know what it's like to be a woman in the world.
I have been chased, I have been groped, I have been catcalled, I have had a man expose himself to me on the London Underground and masturbate on the London Underground. And my experience isn't exceptional. It doesn't stand out. It's fairly ordinary.
What would that mean to have a woman in charge? Do you think that'll make a difference?
Oh, I think it'll make a significant difference.
How come?
No, not so much just because of, because of being a woman, but because she will bring to the table the issues that haven't been brought to the table before.
And change, Mandu says, will be life-saving. Mandu believes global violence against women is at a tipping point.
We've been together for about an hour now, and in that time, 6 women across the world have been murdered. That is the reality that we are facing across the globe, day in, day out.
In January, Puerto Rico's governor declared a state of emergency over the spike in deaths related to gender violence. And the president of South Africa pledged $75 million in 2019 to help victims of gender-based violence. Yet the death toll has only gotten higher. Sehufotse Pule, Sarah Everard, Victoria Salazar, Sama El-Hadi, Juan Jung Grant, and countless others. Every hour, the list keeps growing, and it can feel like this pandemic is only getting worse. Women have been fighting back for decades, but this year, as their voices rise across races, countries, and continents, is this time enough? Finally, enough.
Do you think that movement is going to continue?
What it's revealed is that the appetite for change is there, 100%. But really, if we're going to see the type of change that will make a difference, that has to translate into political momentum. And that is where our political leaders have a choice. They can either continue to turn a blind eye to it, or they can allocate the resources, show the leadership, and make the long-term commitments that would really shift the dial on this issue.
And Lindsay, I wanted to share with you guys an update on Margarita. Our team filmed with her in Russia in 2018, and since then, she's become a TV host on a popular show in Russia where she raises awareness about domestic violence. She is still a fierce advocate and currently has a case pending in the European Court of Human Rights against those 9 police officers who, she says, all ignored her complaints against her husband. And Lindsay, perhaps what is most joyful, we can tell you she's now moved to St. Petersburg with her children, where she has since remarried and is even expecting a baby. And we are all so thrilled she's doing so well. Lindsay?
Thank you so much for that positive ending there, Maggie. We appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.